There is a perception that Armenian cuisine is spicy. Well, it is not at all. It is aromatized. The richness of the Silk Road, that's the Armenian cuisine. If you see the Indian and Armenian common points, this is where Armenia was introduced to fenugreek that you see in the Basterma. Indian used to take the yogurt of Armenians and Armenian used to take the yogurt of Indians. Everybody says that if you eat Basterma, you smell. Yes, because the fenugreek cannot be digested by the urine. It's only digested by your sweat. Balariha. It's nonsense. There is no fenugreek balariha. Armenian cuisine is based on olive oil. Aleppo's cuisine based on fat. They have a very good samna hamawi. The Eastern Armenian cuisine is based on fat because it's very dry and cold. Musaler is like as if I'm in Ain Mraisi, as if I'm in Jbel. The nice weather, the olive oil, the lemon, the fish. Measure the level of the restaurant. First thing is the subarek. I don't believe there's a difficult food. There is a momentum. You have to be patient. In my Armenian school, every day after our prayer, we used to say, "Thank you, Lebanon," and we'll do our best to give you back. This is the culture. Armenians, after the genocide, survived thanks to culture. Culture is everything. Your religion, your language, your tradition, your food.
Welcome to a very special episode of the Matbakh podcast. My name is Mikey Mhenna. Today here we are on location at Mayrig with the one and only Aline Kamakian, the founder and sort of driving force behind Mayrig and the many associated companies and initiatives. This episode is all about Armenian food and what that term means. So welcome Aline. Or I should say, thank you for having me. That's what I should really say.
Thank you for thinking about me. Thank you, Mikey.
So maybe let's start with that term, because I have your book here. It's called Armenian Cuisine. It is a very hefty book.
2 kilograms.
2 kilos, very good for lightweight exercises. But I'm curious, what do you think people misunderstand about that term, Armenian cuisine?
Oh.
What do you think people misunderstand? Those who are used to eating what they think is Armenian cuisine, and those who don't even know where Armenia is or where Armenians are.
Well, you know, we Armenians, we like to add some spices on everything, even about if we talk about Armenian cuisine or Armenian language or Armenia.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of people doesn't know a lot about us. They know that we are almost in every country, and they know that there is a genocide. That's 2 points, and that's it. Well, Armenia was very big. You know, Armenia had 3 seas. You had the sea, you had the Black Sea, you had the Caspian, you had the Mediterranean. And today, Armenia doesn't have any sea. So what happened during these years is Armenia, the bigger Armenia was called Gilikia. And during the 1915, the genocide, that the genocide was not one day or 1 year, it was over many years, and it was systematic. So all the Armenians from nowadays called Turkey was pushed away, killed, genocide, and so on. So this part of the Armenia was all lost. And Armenians were pushed beyond Ararat. And then during the 1915, it was Russia's who took that part, and Turkey took the western part. And me, I'm the 3rd generation in Lebanon of the people who fled the Western Armenia.
So your great-grandparents left Armenia in 1915.
My grandparents from both sides arrived here as refugees.
Yeah.
They were like victims. They were 7 years old and 11 years old. They lost their parent. They were traumatized, and this is how they arrived here. My mother's side arrived through the French boat from Musalia that brought them here in Lebanon. And my father's side walked through Aleppo. And my grandparent was tied up. His father tied him up under a horse so that he saved him, and he was found by Kurdish people in
literally a horse alone.
Nearly a horse alone.
Wow.
And this is how they fled, and they were all without parents. Everybody was here, scattered and everything. So this is the western part of it. And the eastern part was under the Russian dictatorial or whatever you want to call it. So this is what left of Armenia right now. And this is more the Georgian part. This is more the part that is more cold. You arrive at minus 24 in Yerevan, which is now the center of Armenia. So this is where you have the confusion of when you say to someone today, Armenia.
Yeah, because it's not only the confusion around cuisine, it's also confusion around what Armenia is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My friends, when they first went to Armenia, they called me and they said, you're a liar. You're not giving us an Armenian cuisine. Because they did not find any of my cuisine in Armenia.
Yeah.
I said, I knew on the spot. I told them, you are in Armenia, right? I said, yes. I said, guys, you have to understand. South of France is not as north of France. The food is not the same. The language, the dialect is not the same. I was in Cortina in Italy doing ski, and I was shocked of the food. I was dreaming about, let's say not the boys, but no, the food, the nice pasta, the language and everything. But I find out that I was in the middle of a German. There's no pasta, no Italian. There's rude, and there's like, I was shocked. So it's the same thing. We have Western Armenia and Eastern Armenia. We speak different dialects.
Yeah.
We have different weather. We have different ingredients. Food is about ingredients. Tell me, where do you live and where do you lived? I can tell you what do you eat. I can tell you what is your tradition.
Yeah.
So imagine my grandparent coming from the Mediterranean. It's like Lebanon. You know, Musaler is like as if I'm in Ain Mraisi, as if I'm in Jbeil.
Yeah.
So I have the nice weather. I have the olive oil as base. I have the lemon. I have the fish, the greenery, all this. And you come and tell me I'm in the Faraya.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same thing.
So when your grandparents came here, okay, first of all, we should say thank you so much.
Thank you. You're having an Armenian wine.
Yeah.
You're tasting an Armenian wine from Armenia.
Amazing. From modern day Armenia.
From modern day Armenia.
Okay.
They have very nice land, which is harsh, and wine. And by the way, they say that Armenia was the first country to have the wine. So French was afterwards. There is a fight between Georgia and Armenia, who's the first. But I say definitely it's Armenia.
You should say, I mean.
Let's not even bargain about that.
Yeah, let's cheers, and then we'll continue the conversation.
Genocide.
How do you say
Armenian.
it?
Genocide.
Genocide. Okay, very nice. Okay, you were continuing. So I'm curious, when your grandparents came, were they all from about the same part of Armenia at the time?
What they've done back then, that people or whoever left from the guides or the leaders, they gathered the kids from the same town together so that they can create new families. And my mother's side were from Musaler. It's very known. It was one of the biggest fight that happened, 40 Days of Musadar, a beautiful book to read. And they come from, as I said, the Mediterranean part. So my grandmother and grandfather met here in Lebanon. They used to take the ladies to teach them the traditional asernakos, we say the dentelle and stuff, to cook, to sew.
Yeah.
And they used to cook, they used to train the men to art things, camera, cooking, working in hotels in back days, Saint George and Phoenicia. If you see the back names of the employees, where most of them were Armenians.
Yeah.
So this is because they don't have they were trained to be able to provide for their families and to make families. They were refugees.
Yeah.
And this is how we came here.
But I guess I want to talk about the refugees bring with them culture, heritage, language, many different things, food among them. How did the food begin to evolve immediately upon arrival? Because you're in a different location, there's different ingredients, there's different trade routes, there's different spices. How did it begin to shift?
Armenians started to come to Lebanon
Yeah.
way before the genocide. If you know the Bzimar church, and it was way before the genocide. So
Okay.
they were Armenians, there were traditions, there were a protection kind of. And when Armenians started to arrive after the genocide, and Anjar was given as part to be for the Armenians, or to gather there, these refugees to have tents there. Anjar was a swamp.
Anjar, like by Baalbek.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Anjar was a swamp.
Yeah.
It was after the genocide, when the cold arrived, half of the Armenians who arrived there died from the cold.
Wow.
Because it was all water. And they started with the French to plant there. And this is why the Anjar is now very known for the good soil and good planting, because it was dumped in the swamp, and good, how do you say? Fertilizers and
Yeah.
stuff. And it was a good, because there is a very nice sun, so you have the dry and you have a clean water. So that's why it's very good, you have a very good crop. So what Armenian did, they started to bring their own seeds. And this is where we have now, till date, we as Mayrig, we produce our pepper paste, our long eggplant, our tomatoes, all is produced there. Even our cherry kebab, our rose jam, we are planting it there. So this is how Armenians started to recultivate or bring in their own seeds, their own style of planting. And they kept this because, a culture is everything. You have your religion, your language, your tradition, your food. So it's a whole. And Armenians, after the genocide, the way they kept, the way they survived all this 107 years, I guess, right now, is thanks to the culture, because you're surviving in a place where it's not your land.
Yeah.
Okay, so the culture protected you. And me as a schoolgirl in my school, Armenian school, every day after our prayer, we used to say, "Thank you, Lebanon, to accept us, and we'll do our best to give you back." This was the culture. When you are, as a kid, all the way for 18 years old, every morning you are thanking the country that received you, and you're going to do your utmost to give back. This is the culture. This is how you thank people.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the household you grew up in. So if you were to describe the kitchen that you grew up in and you ate in every single day, what would a normal breakfast look like?
As I said, we are coming from almost the same style of country. So you have the same ingredients, differently prepared. You have the mahshi, differently prepared.
Yeah.
Okay, so our breakfast was, again, we had the omelette style, which we use a lot of omelettes with yogurt and with red pepper powder and sumac. It's very nice. Like you do a poached egg. My grandma's daily was, she used to do the tonir huts, which is the bread, the tonir bread. Tonir means tanur.
Okay.
So it's the thick, easy bread every day.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't have a tonir, so she did in the oven with nice rock, and she used to do it inside.
Yeah.
You create your things. And the poached egg in the yogurt, a bit of garlic in the morning, Armenian, okay? Your poached egg is inside, and then with the butter, the refined butter, you just put the red pepper powder, the Aleppan red pepper powder that we call it, and you put on the yogurt and on the omelette.
Yeah.
And you take your tonir and you dip in it.
So
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. This is one thing. The other thing is the Sujuk and Basterma, which are the cured beef and sausage of Armenian, that is prepared at home, so it's not heavy. It's neat meat. It's very good.
Yeah.
Also with an omelette or with cheese. This was our thing. It was always a salty breakfast. If you go back, every time it was a salty. We never had an orange juice. We had salty breakfast.
So like knefa, that knife, that's not part of the...
No, knife is an afternoon, but we have the knife. The ma'moul of what we have here is the other style of knife. You know, we have the same ingredients prepared.
Yeah, it's just
differently.
remixed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of putting the sugar syrup on the knife or the cheese with the semolina, let's call it, you prepare it as you wish.
Yeah.
My grandma used to put rose petal jam, and it is
Nice.
really good. It's very special, and it's not very sweet. You have this tangy taste that with the cheese and the semolina is beautiful, and this is what we offer in a ma'moul style in Mayrig. So you still have the same ingredients but differently prepared. You still have the semolina and the cheese. You have the different kind of cheese. We have the subarek, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like a ra'at, but indifferently prepared. But I noticed when I wrote my book that according to your location, your subarek cheese change. Yellow cheese, white cheese, according where do you live and what do you do. So
Amazing.
these all is all about how how you prepare things.
Okay, wow. We have, speaking of preparation,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Amazing. Okay, so maybe let's just take a pause and you can introduce us to some of these dishes. Oh, we still have more coming. Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's
Beware, don't watch this while hungry. Disaster.
I will ask him to pause a bit so that we can talk and eat. Okay?
Tamam.
Give me 10 minutes and then 10, 15 minutes and then. What you have here right now is, what is the first thing that you noticed? Is the color.
The colors, for sure.
Okay, you have a red color that is dominant. And there is a perception that Armenian cuisine is spicy. Well, it is not. It is not at all. Armenian cuisine, it is not spicy. It is aromatized, full of different spices, the richness of the Silk Road. You know, that's the Armenian cuisine. But it's not spicy. The spiciness is the Armenians who passed through Aleppo after the genocide and brought with them the spiciness of Aleppo, the heaviness of Aleppo's food.
Yeah.
Not Armenian.
So if I were to eat a dish, if I were to sit at a table like this in 1890, okay, in sometime Greater Armenia, before the genocide, would it have been as colorful?
Yes.
Okay, so the spices were present then.
Okay, the spices here that we have
Yeah.
is the red pepper.
Okay.
Red pepper paste is the #1 ingredient of the Western Armenian cuisine. Okay, the red pepper is a special pepper. It's not spicy, has this tickling, natural. It's not neither spicy, neither sweet. You can eat it, and you're not gonna be bloated or something. It is really good.
This is the small red
No,
pepper.
It is like I will show a picture right now. It is a long like this. It's very thin. Yes, we have it here. It's very thin, so it is concentrated taste. It is not like a bell pepper, what is full of water. And what is nice about it, it has a natural taste. And what we do with it is that we have it, we wash it, we cut and dry it. This is it.
This is
Okay, but there is another one that is, I show you the pepper paste in it. And this is where you see, and this is what we do right now is the season to do it in Anjar, the pepper paste. So this is where you see, yes, exactly.
This one. Aha, okay. Here we go. That's it.
So you see it now in the raw meat, the chikofta. You see it in the potato. You see it in the Basterma.
This
You
is
see it in
in
each.
southern Italy. They have
Yes,
similar.
but it's not the same. The Spanish one is resembled much more than the southern Italy.
Okay, very
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
So you see it in the each. You see it in the olive salad. You have it on the Basterma. You have it inside the chikofta, which is the raw meat. You have it inside the potato kebab, which is also the potato cooking.
Okay.
Okay, so
Amazing.
and if you don't have it as a paste, you have it as a pepper powder. Okay, you have it here. You have it in the lentil. You have it into the each. You have it into the sarma. So all of it have this. This is the base of the Armenian cuisine. And if someone tells you I don't eat pepper or I'm allergic to, I bet this one pass. Because
I
it
see.
doesn't have this heaviness and this of the bell pepper that you cannot digest. Doesn't
Yeah.
have that. Okay, it's very good.
Okay, you're killing me. We have to. I
You have to
try
start.
some.
Attack.
So let me ask you, as I'm eating, the way that these have been prepared, are there very traditional things that need to be there to qualify dishes as dishes? Like, let's say each, for example.
Everything you see here is traditional except the hummus.
Okay.
I took the hummus from the Lebanese
Yeah.
and baptized it with the Basterma. So
Amazing.
it's a new dish. But each is tradition. And
I don't
there
know
is
if you
not
wanna-
only one style of each. There is so many style of each. Each
Yeah.
each region has its own way of doing it. One cook the tomato, the other makes it all fresh with the onion juice, the other makes it with a lot of pomegranate inside. It's according to your season. And usually the each is cooked during when you have the baby wine leaves coming up and you eat it with the baby wine leaves. And this is really something. And it's very easy to do.
Yeah.
It's not something complicated. It's a basic. You see, all the ingredients you have it in Lebanon. You share the same ingredients: the bergol, tomato, pepper, onion, garlic, pepper paste. So all of them are here. You don't need to. You don't need to import something. You are in the Mediterranean. Everything you find here in Lebanon, in Syria, in Greece, it's in the Mediterranean. You share the same ingredients. Everyone prepares it differently.
So,
Now my turn.
yes, please. I was going to serve you, but you were in the middle of your flow. So, let me ask you. They always say about restaurants in Lebanon, many places, but they say you can tell a restaurant, you can judge a restaurant by its hummus, right?
Yes.
For an Armenian restaurant, what is the dish that you cannot screw up? This one you have to get right, and there's clearly a right and wrong.
If you want to measure the level of the restaurant, first thing is the subarek.
Okay.
Is the most difficult is not the term, is time-consuming, complex food that exists. And then you can go to Mante, you can go to the Kebab Karaz, or the Fishna, and you can go to the each. So those are my basic. But to be able to reach everything, you have to start by doing yourself your pepper paste, or to have a good ingredient, good supplier for your pepper paste, because this is your base. Imagine if your pepper paste is not good, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dishes are gone. So.
So how much of this? How many of the dishes right now that we're eating are stuff that you would have found in your pantry or in the fridge at home?
If you come to actually what you see right
Yeah.
now, I've learned it from my mom. You have her fridge in your book, in my book.
Yeah.
You can see the fridge. My mom was the master because my father, and back then there was no cellular. My father was whoever he sees in his office, he brings them home for dinner.
Yeah.
So my mom was used to surprise dinner parties. And no cellular, no phone. Nobody used to call. So my mom had the magic of being able to put this table in 5 minutes.
Yeah. 'Cause everything needed to be.
ميني كبة in the freezer, the الشكفتة واللحم النية تعملهم on the spot. You have the sarma always in our table. So there is always the mante in the freezer, the subarag in the freezer. So you have always something to be able to give you a nice Armenian meza, let's say.
I want to talk a little bit about your story.
Shoot.
One thing that people will maybe be surprised by is your career. Starting in the insurance world as a broker, clearly straight-laced, button-up business person, business owner, who, when you read the bio, seems to have just made like a left turn into the food world. Starts this amazing restaurant in 2003. Why? Why and how? Why and how did you start Mayrig?
The why is very important because it was all about the why more than anything else. My father has a lot to do in this. I lost my father. I was 17 years old.
Wow.
And I was very close to him. And he was a passionate cook. He was not a chef. He was a tailor. But Sundays, Saturdays and Sundays, were my father turned to cook. My mother is a great chef, is a great cook. In the school, when I used to go to school, I had my lunch, and everybody during the recreation used to come to me because they knew that I have the best food. From the mini pizzas to mini subarak, Mante, Lahmacun, everything was very neatly prepared. My dessert, my timing, everything. So I used to have a fiesta during my recreation.
Haram, your mom. Surprise dinner parties, surprise lunch parties, surprise.
My mom is a typical Armenian mom, which she dedicated her life to her kids, and to the husband and to the food. So her life was everything around us. So this is where I started. First of all, I was raised on good food. I was raised to enjoy. Food was not a mean to survive. Food was magic. And this is very important because my palate is very rich. I can taste and I can tell you what there is inside, especially salty. I'm not very good in sweet. I don't like to have boundaries. Sweet is, for me, chemistry. 1, 2, 3, you have to follow. And I'm very revolutionary, even in food. So I love to create, and salty is much easier to manage to put together than the sweet. So Saturday and Sunday, I was with my father. So preparing the barbecue, marinating it so that lunch, Sunday lunch is very important. Well, in our home, Sunday breakfast and Sunday lunch was very important. My mom and my father were, both of them, the eldest in their family. So since they are the eldest, they are the one who received both sides of the family. And the family was quite big. My father's side was 9 children. My mother's side was 7 children. So I have a lot of cousins. Yeah. It was nice because you raised. So in the morning we were to prepare the breakfast. Everybody used to come to us, and then everybody goes, and then they come back to have the late lunch, dinner, whatever you want to call it. So it was my father's specialty Saturday and Sunday to prepare. Although my mother neatly prepared everything, the meat was cleaned, cut. Everything was there just to make. Father used to make the magic. Yeah. But he used to brag about he prepared everything, He prepared everything. He prepared the barbecue. So I used to be with my father bragging about it and prepared. And he used to tell me that one day he will open a small restaurant just for his friend to be able to introduce the Armenian cuisine for the world. And this was, when he passed away, this was the only thing that left to me. It was like I wanted to realize his dream. My dream became realizing my father's dream. Wow. And this is what kept me going. I was 17, and it was the last year of the school when I lost him. It was the second day of the school and the last year. So it was very shocking for me. It was the first loss in our family. So it was heavy on me. I was very close to him. My father was very liberate man for that age and for that time. He used to tell me, whatever you want to do, you have to do it. I don't want to hear any nagging, they didn't let me. It doesn't exist. So I was 17 years old when I came back from school. It was the last day of school. I was very happy. At night when he came, he said, starting tomorrow, you will find a job. You're not allowed to go to my friends. You will go something next to their house from 8 to 5. I don't care what they're paying, but I want you to have a purpose. And the thing that you are not allowed to go to my friend was very important. Yeah. Because I had to face the knock of the door. Bonjour, I'm here to find a job. And I was like a small kid.
What amazing advice.
It was the best thing that as if he knew that he's going to go early. Wow. and he was preparing me for life, because
You need to be able to do this without me.
this is very important in my life, because this was the thing that made me who I am.
Wow. So what kind of year did you have in 2002 that led you to 2003 and deciding to start this?
It was always my dream, okay? I prepared a small business plan that I needed back then $25,000 to be able to do my restaurant. But back then, there was this common way of treating women in the bank. It's not a law, but it was a common way that we don't lend women. Especially me, that my father is dead, so I don't have a man to sign. I'm not married. My brother is not in Lebanon. And plus, I work in insurance, so I don't have a fixed salary. I have a brokerage
Commission. Yeah.
So there is nothing guaranteed. There is nothing inside. So we were at the lunch to my cousin, and he was telling, he was a silent investor in another restaurant, and he was pissed that nobody was listening. And I needed a man. I said, why don't you come with me? And this is how we started it. So, huge mistake I had done back then, 50-50, you know, genuine and everything. That's big no for someone who wants to start his business. Please, please go to your lawyer, take 51% at least, put a nice contract, put it in your drawer. I hope you will never use it, but the day you need to use it, you have to have everything set. This is a small parenthesis for business owners.
Very important.
So this is how I started it. And it was always my dream to start. I thought that I will be an investor in a restaurant. No, didn't work. I tried. I wasn't there. Here was something driving me.
Yeah.
A why, the Armenian. You know, my father's dream of spreading the Armenian culture, of introducing people to Armenian food. It was this was the main driver. And this, when you have a restaurant, when you want to open a restaurant, the first thing your brander will take, the branding company will take, they will write the story so that you have a meaning to talk about, to put it in social media, to blah, blah, blah it, sorry. In this case, what is strong in Mayrig is the Mayrig was built on a why, and not that we had to create a why.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe the secret of 21 years of success, because it's very difficult to sustain a restaurant, you know.
It's
like
hard to be around for 1 year.
Exactly. 80% of the restaurant dies after 3 years max, and then the other 80% dies after 5 years. So it is difficult to succeed. It is difficult to sustain, without saying the danger and
that's in like a perfect world.
The challenge of Lebanon. I'm not saying about this. In a normal word, in a nice word, it's already difficult to succeed.
بلا انفجار without
بلا انفجار, بلا corona, بلا جدار صوت, بلا زلزال, بلا. You know, there is a lot of things in Lebanon. We have a lot of challenges. We are in PhD in mastering in.
Because 2005, there's the assassination.
Exactly.
And so the Lebanon that you started, the post-war Lebanon that you started the Mayrig in 2003. In 2005, there was the first
challenge.
Wake-up call. Oh, wait a second. This might not be the post-war Lebanon that we thought it was.
2003, when I started, the idea was, in August, there is no one in Ashrafiyeh. We close, we go to Anjar, we do our Muni. You know, this was the style.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like that, because there was a lot of GCC countries, there was a lot of tourists, and August was a very promising month, and we were working and everything, so I did not take any minute off, and we were working, everything was good. We changed our kitchen 3 times because we are the first Armenian restaurant. You have to understand that if you go to any kitchen maker and you say, I'm going to open an Armenian restaurant, they look at you, what is an Armenian restaurant? Mm-hmm. So we designed the kitchen, but with the experience, no, the flow should not be like this. The flow should be like this, because the flow in the kitchen is very important.
Yeah.
We learn it through our experience,
Wow,
our
yeah.
right or wrong, like you touch here and there. So on the third kitchen, already we were on the third design of the kitchen, we had a lot of customers and from GCC, and the first time I was approached by a big chain to ask about the franchise. And it was the first time I see a big check in my name, 6-digit amount. I never seen that.
No.
Okay, on the table saying, I want to buy the franchise of Mayrig. I did not know what it means. What is a franchise? Never heard about it, never been in this kind of things. I was an insurance broker and I was serving and, So when Hariri assassination happened and we were no business and we were here, I started to learn about franchise. I took courses, I started to prepare, I started the manual. I understood that you have to have a feet outside Lebanon. I don't want to leave Lebanon, but you have to have a parachute. You have to have a small feet outside to be able to survive during this harsh date, because apparently you have a lot of these days.
Yeah.
And I was not wrong. So I started to learn about franchise, and this is how we went franchising. And our first franchise was in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah.
Okay.
That's another chapter, because franchising is a marriage.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a complete marriage. And if you don't, the first rule is find your right partner
صح.
who has the same vision, same mentality. Otherwise, you cannot raise your baby at all. You're a catastrophic divorce. So that's another chapter. That's a
another
long chapter. Yeah.
Okay, I want to come back to the food for a second.
Yeah. Subarek.
Let's talk about this first, and then we'll introduce us to
Yeah.
the other things that will arrive. So tell us a little bit.
Subarek was the main reason why I cook.
So good.
I was 12, something like this, 12
I
years
tried
old.
to wait for you, but I couldn't. I had to eat.
I arrived home and my mom was cooking subarek. Subarek is a long hours. So it's a 12 layers of dough that is based on only eggs and flour and a bit salt. So it's very difficult dough to manage. You have to open it very thin, that my mom used to put it like this. Are you seeing me? No? It's not good enough. Continue,
Wow.
open. So it has to be see-through, It's got to be very thin, and you should not starch it or scratch it and everything. And then you have to boil it. Then you put it in a cold water and you dry it, like a lasagna if you want, but lasagna is thick. This one is very thin. So, and then you have to put it on a big tray, about layers. So six layers, then 3 kinds of cheese with a bit of parsley, red pepper powder, and another 6 layers of dough. Then you have to cook it over the fire and not in the oven. And this is the thing. So you have to turn it very slowly, cook it one part, and then turn the whole thing and cook the other part.
What is the thing it's being cooked on?
It's your gas.
Yeah.
You open your 4 gases,
Yeah.
and you start to turn.
But is it
This is
on
hot.
is it on pan? Is it on a what is
Yeah,
it
it's
on?
a big copper dish.
Okay.
Armenian always cook on a copper.
Okay.
Always. It's everything that you have. It's made on copper. This is why
Okay.
you see in Mayrig the wood and copper
Yeah.
are the main ingredients of architecture ingredients, if you will. So
Amazing.
when I came home and I saw my mom opening the door, I started to try to help her. So I throw some, I made some. At the end, I managed to do a bit. And at night, when mom put this subarag in front of my father, she said, your daughter cooked it. And you should have seen the pride of my father. The eyes, that body language, everything was there. And I was always fighting because I wanted a motorcycle. Armenian woman, Armenian girl with a motorcycle in Lebanon, it's a no.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I pop up the question.
You're opportunistic. You understand the moment. Seize
Papa,
the moment.
I want a motorcycle. The guy couldn't say no.
Yeah.
He said, okay, I'm not going to buy a motorcycle, but I'm going to bring a friend. You're going to have a tour, and you're going to say, because back then when I used to tell him I want a motorcycle, he used to tell me, this is £500 extra, get a tent and live outside the house. This was the argument. This time was not that.
Yeah.
And this was the most important thing, because I understood that moment that every time I want something, it's not my grades. It was what I was cooking.
Yeah.
And that was the hit.
Amazing.
I
love
started to cook everything.
it. You're like, this is my road to success.
This is it.
Yeah.
So this is where I started to cook every time and then.
Yeah.
Something I learned from because my mom was very good in the musaler, in the food of creating the food, the harissa, the things.
Yeah.
My father's part was the master of the subarag, everything dough. They are from upper part, which there was the dough, the cheese. There was not on the seaside.
Okay.
My mother family was on the seaside. My father's family were about upper part where there is a lot of grains.
Yeah.
So, and my mom learned the subarag and the Mante from my father's family.
Okay.
So I started to cook with my aunt. I was very close to her. I used to call her second mom. And whenever I wanted something, it was her way. She wasn't married, so I was her niece.
Your project.
Yeah. So I started to cook from there. And this is where I arrived on this. And when I started Mayrig and I started to recruit mothers, because there was no chef. There is no Armenian school. There is no chef. If you want to open Armenian cuisine, you don't find an Italian chef and come. So I started with the mothers. Till now, that's why the name is Mayrig, because mothers are cooking. Until now, my kitchen is full of mothers. My central kitchen is full of mothers. Everything is prepared by mothers. And when I was telling them I want the subarak like this thin, or the kofta is like this, and they were laughing at me, who's this? Now she's gonna teach us how to do. And the day I was really pissed, I took over and I showed them what I want. This was the day that I gained respect. This was the day that they said, oops, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And that is where I started to put on the track everything about food.
Amazing. Can I ask you more questions?
Yeah, can I eat?
Yeah. If you want, we can pull this a little closer. This is a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. What is the deal with Karaz? I feel like one of the tells for me when I'm like, if I'm eating something, if I'm at a restaurant that isn't supposed to be like an Armenian restaurant, and there's Karaz involved in anything, I always assume, oh, okay, maybe this is Armenian inspired. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like it's this recurring theme. And this dish, I don't know what the name of this dish is, but I would love to understand if that is a innovation that happened after the migration and the refugees that moved here, or if that's something that is in Halab and in other places where there are Armenians.
Remember when I said there is a Western and Eastern? We call it fishna. Fishna is the sour cherry. It is more into the Western Armenia, which is now, if you want to say where is the best fishna, is in the border of Turkey and Syria, if I want to call it now, which was Armenian back then. Armenian cuisine is very much about contrast. It's contrast of colors. You see different colors. Contrast of texture, the crispy and the creamy, you have it. Contrast of temperature. You have the raw meat here that you want to try it with the minced meat that is fried. So you have the contrast of cooked and uncooked. And you have the contrast of sweet and sour. And it's not about only the karas that we do. We cook a lot with fruits because we are very rich with all kind of fruits and stuff. So the fishna de karas is basically Armenian. This one, you have it in French, you have it in Belgium. In Belgium, for example, they do the big kebab and they fry it with the cherry. In French, they do the compote. So, of course, it exists in other countries. Aleppo use it a lot, but Aleppan use it as jam. They put sugar in it while they're cooking, and any of it works. Armenian style is completely different. Armenian style is there is only one style of this fishna, that we take and cook it very slowly, where it releases its own sugar. So it's a natural taste that you see it. It's not very sugary.
Yeah.
You have this tangy and this soury taste that you finish with it. And this is the richness of it. Now you see a lot. And you see it, I'm sorry, but you're eating jam.
Yeah, exactly.
It has nothing to do with it. But a lot when Mayrig started, and when Mayrig started to talk about Armenian cuisine, when Armenian cuisine started to be known and successful, people want to copy, of course, and this is the best compliment that they can give me.
Yeah.
So what is the easiest thing to copy?
This.
It's a chair,
Yeah, just throw it on there.
okay? Let them copy subarak. Did you see one restaurant to copy subarak? I've seen it in Riyadh. I ate it till this is lasagna, it's not subarak. You know, they do. Because it's really complicated, and it's not, I don't believe there's a difficult food. There is time, a momentum, and it's time consuming.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to be patient. I am hyper person. The only time that you see me a bit taking a pose and accepting is when I work with the dough. The dough tells you what to do. You cannot tell the dough what to do. You cannot.
Yeah.
That's no, like brioche, subarag. You know that there's the Armenian brioche, which we call it chorag. It's very important because during the genocide, after the genocide, the ladies who were kidnapped and forced to marry Turkish people, they used to gather during Easter and bring their own brioche with them, the chorag with them. This is the only way, without telling that I am Armenian.
Mm.
And this was very strong because this was how they continued to comfort each other by this chorag. It's as simple as it is. The Greek does it, the Italian does it, everybody adds its own thing. In the Armenian, there is this mastika and the mahlab. And the way you're doing it, very tradition, slow way to cook it. And this is very typical Armenian about it. Sorry, I jumped up.
No, amazing. Also, I wanted to ask you about Basterma. What's special about the way Armenians prepare Basterma? And Sujuk, maybe we'll talk about both of them together.
When I wanted to open Mayrig, when I first tell my friends that I want to open Armenian cuisine, everybody laughed at me. شو بدك تفتح? A sandwich of sujuk and basterma.
Yeah.
That was the only thing they knew about it. Basterma is the cured beef. It's the old way of curing. You know, we didn't have fridges back then. So you need to cure your beef to be able to keep it a long way.
Yeah.
Otherwise you will have to throw it. And it's simple cured beef as the pastrami, as any cured beef that they do. So it's press in the salt, remove the blood, wash it, hang it. Till now, nothing different. Since Armenian was the center of the Silk Road spices exchange, Armenian are very rich with the spices.
It's funny because I don't think, I'm just going to stop on that sentence. If you asked me 30 minutes ago, what was the center of the Silk Route, I would not have said Armenia. I don't think it's something that people typically think of. So the route that, when people think of the Silk Route, starts in India and ends basically at the birth of the Mediterranean that goes into Europe. Is that the route, basically?
Yes, it passes through Ani.
Okay.
Ani was the center of Kilikia back then, the big Armenia.
Yeah.
If you go to Ani today, which is the border of Turkey and Armenia, okay, it's called Georgian town. Turkish deny that this is Armenian. But if you go in, you see a lot of ruins of churches, and you read Armenian inside. And you see the map of it, and you see how it was divided so that everybody comes with their horses. There was the table for the horses, you know, and hotel style. And it was the market of the Silk Road.
Wow.
And this is where Armenia was introduced to fenugreek, that you see it in the Basterma. This is where Armenia was introduced to ginger, galangal. If you see the Indian and Armenian common points between cooking, you see how much the yogurt has things. And Indian used to take the yogurt of Armenians, and Armenian used to take the yogurt of Indians. and it was called by the name of the family that was nurturing the bacteria of the yogurt. You know, yogurt you have to كيف نعمل اللبن, you
Yeah.
know, you have to nurture it. So yogurt is very important. And if you see the base of cooking of Indian, you start by garlic, ginger paste, you know, garlic, ginger, onion. If you see the Armenian, is you see garlic, the onion, and the pepper paste.
And the colors as well.
Exactly. So the same style of cooking. There is a lot in common. Even Indian called paneer for the cheese. Armenian called banir. Indian calls there was something else, the yogurt. The yogurt, there is also Indian known that it's coming from Armenia or not. It's the Indian style. Because everybody loves the yogurt of Mayrig. Why? Because it's the way we stop the yogurt before coming Lebanon.
Yeah.
It's dense. Okay, Lebanese style of yogurt is more watery. You don't have this density. It's more like lighter. So this is the way why we had it, and this is why the Basterma is very unique, because you have the pepper paste with the fenugreek that covers it, and this is the taste that it gives. Everybody says that if you eat Basterma, you smell. Yes, because the fenugreek cannot be digested by the urine. It's only digested by your sweat. And that's why you have this. And when they tell you that it's no balariha or no smell, it's nonsense. There is no fenugreek balariha. Now you can diminish the quantity, but this is diminish the fenugreek that is outside.
Yeah.
Why, before we cut, for example, here you see how much there is. We remove it. The taste is there. You don't need to eat only fenugreek.
Yeah.
So these are the things. This is what makes
Let me try it.
Basterma special. Look at this new combination. This is a new combination. This is a hummus. I say I'm Lebanese from Armenian origin.
So,
This is a Lebanese with Armenian fragrance. I can do that with sujuk also. And the sujuk, like any sausage, the one who does the sausage, is basically the garlic, the red pepper powder. These are very important in Armenian cuisine. And if I do a sujuk at home or in Mayrig, when we do it, we do clean meat. It's nice. I can eat it raw when you're doing it. It's not leftover meat to do some sausage. It's a very good meat that we develop it. We put it in the sarine. How do you say it? Okay.
yeah.
Okay, and we dry it. And this is a very nice. The day that we used to do at home, we used to do the sujuk at home, but with Basterma we used to bring it because it's a long process.
Yeah.
So it was like the day where you have the omelette, the sujuk, the yogurt on it. That's sujuk day, sujuk party, and it's I love it.
Okay. Another question. تفضل, please.
Let's go ahead.
Check the time. So another question about Halab and about sort of the different parts of the Armenian community globally who developed maybe different flavors and different textures and different ingredients and different dishes. What's different about Armenian food in Aleppo compared to different places?
There's a major difference at the start.
Okay.
Armenian cuisine is based on olive oil. Aleppo's cuisine based on fat. They have a very good samna hamawi, very nice one. Okay, but Armenian cuisine is based on olive oil. The Western Armenian cuisine. The Eastern Armenian cuisine is based on fat because it's very cold there, dry and cold. So everything goes back to your geographical position. Okay, that's why I say Armenian cuisine is very rich, because you had the Western and Eastern part. You had the sea and the mountain. You had the Mediterranean Sea and the Caspian Sea. So everything is different. For example, this is rice kibbeh. It's rice from outside. It's not the kibbeh that we know. Okay, so it's based on rice. This is from the border of Iranian Armenian, because you use the basmati rice and you used all this that they have in geographically. This I learned it with school. In the canteen, they used to have the big ones. And I was in love with it. And I had to convince the Mère Supérieure to take the recipe of this. So the kitchen chef, the mère in the kitchen, because I used to bring my food every time, I was not a basic eater at the canteen.
Yeah.
I was not loved very much, But I knew that she loved my mom's pizza. So I had to...
You're wheeling and dealing. You're always...
So I had to make a deal. I said, I'll give you the mom's pizza recipe. You give me the recipe of the printsov kofta, we call it. Prints means rice. Kofta is everything that is cooked. So this is how I got it. Of course, it was in school, it was big,
Yeah.
not nice and stuff. So my mom created the small size of it.
The real question is, did you get the permission of your mom to give away her recipe?
No. Don't.
You come back with a new recipe type. How did you get this recipe?
I had to learn the pizza.
Yeah.
Go sell, or let's say not sell, give and take, trade.
Yeah. Amazing.
But I believe this is my favorite.
Yeah.
And I believe this is one of my first business counter.
Yeah. So if I look at this menu, I wanted to keep the menu for a second. If I look at the menu, I'll tell you dishes that I always get when I'm here or at other Armenian restaurants. And I wonder why they have become such staples. Like Mante, for example, right? Which is literally the first dish under the main dishes. Why is Mante so iconic?
Before Mayrig, I don't think that you ever heard of Mayrig Mante. I don't think anyone knew about it, except if you have a neighbor that used to cook and bring. Mante is very time-consuming. It takes a lot of time. It's very easy. It's like a tortellini of Italian, but without the eggs. So it's very easy dish, but it's very time-consuming. It was one of my favorite. And you have almost 8 or 9 sort of Mante. One is with yogurt, one is like bochcha, we call it, one is closed like the shish barak. You have different. And Mante, by the way, came from the Mongols.
Ah.
In this side of the world, in the Mediterranean side, we didn't have bread or dough. It came from the Mongol. And even Italians, the pasta and the tortellini came from the Mongol. Okay, so Mante is part of it. Armenians call it Mante, Lebanese call it shish barak, Lebanese, Syrian and stuff. Russian calls it bilmani, and Georgian calls it khengali.
Okay.
The Georgian
They're
makes
dumplings.
it big dumplings. The Russian makes it like a kare, it's bilmani. So everybody took it and did it their own way. And the Italian calls it tortellini or ravioli or something. So when I wanted to do my mom's table.
Are they always open-faced?
No.
Okay.
There's different ways.
Okay.
The Georgian and the Russian are all closed, but the Armenian has different ways. Full close, half close, open face.
Okay.
You have it different. You have it in my book, some of them. So when I started Mayrig, I started to do dishes, inviting my friends home, and started to check and to click on everything they were their favorites.
Yeah.
Because you're starting something, you need to know. You have to have a comfort zone. You have to, it's not difficult to Armenian cuisine for Lebanese because you're almost the same ingredient. I'm not I'm not telling you that you're going to eat the fish roll.
Yeah.
Sushi took time, sashimi took time to Lebanon. But Armenian cuisine didn't because I'm using the same ingredients, differently prepared.
Yeah.
And I presented it as a tapas or meza style, which is very comfort for Lebanese. We're used to this kind of things. And when I was like trial and error at home with my friends, Mante was always number one.
Yeah.
Pick always number one. Kids, too big.
Yeah.
Kids loves it.
It's also interactive.
It's interactive, When we have Mante at home, it's not like this that we have it. It's like you put your Mante, you put your sauce, laban, you eat it like a soup.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put it as a soup because I didn't want to have
more like shish barak.
less than shish barak. It has to be crispy.
Yeah.
You put the dough
Okay.
مثل ما هون بيجي crispy بتزيد عليها sauce. You have to eat it fast so that it's still crispy and not soggy. I wanted to create it differently, and this is how we created how to serve it because people likes the show.
Yeah.
Okay, people like this. It's the same thing that we're doing it. Before, first 2 years, I used to do the Mante inside the kitchen and goes out only yogurt. You don't see the richness of the small Mante. And it was a client who said, he removed and he said, oh my God, it's so pretty. Why don't you show us before?
Yeah.
It was a client idea to bring the Mante and then to serve it and outside.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it was a great idea because this is till today, when you put anything I can put on the social media, if I put the Mante, it's viral.
Yeah.
So Mante is number one. And a lot of people took it. And there was another Armenian restaurant that opened lately and did the Mante and stuff. My client or my friends told me, oh my God, it's not tasty. So I went, I find the owner. I told him, this is my book. I beg you.
Read it.
Whatever you need, I'm ready to train your chefs. He said, you're so arrogant. I said, I'm not. I'm genuinely saying to you. Because if someone comes first time to your restaurant and eat Armenian food and doesn't like it, he will doesn't like the Armenian food. And not that your restaurant is not good. I want you to become, because my dream is, right now is like change. I realized my father's dream and I wanted to continue. So my dream became to spread the Armenian culture in the whole world. I cannot do it alone. I want people to open my Armenian restaurants. I want people to copy me. Please do.
Yeah.
Because the more you do, but do it right, dakhilkum. The more you do, the more you help me realizing my dream. I cannot reach the whole world.
Yeah.
I'm not a superwoman. I can do 1 country, 2 countries, 3 countries, but I cannot do the rest. So the only thing that I ask is just do it right. Because once a person tastes your restaurant and loves it, he will search for another Armenian restaurant.
صح.
But if he doesn't, he will stop.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm hurting the Armenian cuisine, and not about you or me. I don't care. My dream is much bigger than this. This is why we have a book. When I started my book, everybody, are you crazy? You're going to give your secret? I said, I don't have a secret. Restaurant is about food, ambience, people. It's not only food. You can eat everywhere. You can even call and deliver. Why are you coming to a restaurant?
And it wasn't mine to begin with. It was ours.
Like, why you go to a restaurant? It's
Yeah.
the whole experience. You want to live it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm creating the YouTube channel. I started to create it Kamakian because I want to reach the maximum people possible to try the Armenian. And if you want to cook Armenian cuisine at home, you need the ingredients. So where do you want to find the Armenian pepper paste?
Yeah.
If it's not reachable, if I do a YouTube and use this, I'll get it.
Yeah.
So this is where the Kamakian product came in. This
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to do. I want to be reachable. I want people to be able, when they crave Armenian cuisine, like anything else, to be able for you to go to the market, get ingredients, and cook it. That's the whole intention.
Okay, there's a few other things I want to hit before we wrap up. One of them is we talked a little bit about Kebab Karaz in general, but I'm also curious if that is a sort of relatively recent innovation as well, or if that's also a dish tale as old as time.
No, it was all the time. And we have different things. We have, with the fishna, we have the jam, we have even the, what you call it, not a cocktail, like مش cognac شو بيسموه هذا آخر شيء بس during the feast. Something. What they do is during the fishna time, because the fishna time is like 16 to 20 days. You have to work very fast. Okay? It's like it's ripe, and boom, خلاص. So what they do is the leftover, they put whatever leftover alcohol they have, arak, whiskey, vodka, whatever they have it in jars. They put it and they open it in Christmas. So it's July time when you have the fishna. So you open it in Christmas, and this is where liqueur. Voilà. This is where they give you a liqueur in Armenian houses till now. So the fishna is very long, and the cinnamon is very long. Because we open it during Christmas, there is inside cinnamon also. So this is cinnamon canal and all cinnamon and cloves. They put it in the jar. So you have this during Christmas. We also give, and also when they do during your removal, when you're removing the seeds, you have the juice of the fishna going down. So what we do with it is like a toot. How we do the toot in Lebanese? We do the fishna. So fishna is a lot inside our culture, and from back.
Amazing. Okay, 2 last questions. One, I want to talk about lahmacun.
Okay.
What's special about the Armenian technique for preparing lahmacun?
We need to taste it.
Yeah, we need to taste it. We'll get some.
Enough sip.
Okay, while we wait for lahmacun, I'll
Hey.
ask you about desserts.
Okay.
So let's talk about desserts. We talked about, in general, your sort of approach to your desire for salty and sort of savory, but the sweet side obviously is a big part of it. So what are the staples of Armenian desserts?
See, again, coming back to your geographic, what do you have? You don't have chocolate, traditionally. What you have is walnuts, fruits, a lot of fruits, and you have a lot of dough.
Yeah.
So Armenians are very, from the dessert, is not like the French, very sophisticated dessert.
Yeah.
Very healthy, very nice, easy, and you have it occasionally. It's everything about tradition. Armenian has the Lent season, and it's very important. We have 2 Lent season. What we call the big one, which is the Easter, and the small one is during Christmas.
Yeah.
So Lent is part of our culture. And during Lent, what we don't eat is anything coming from animal. So it's complete detox.
Yeah.
So during that time, the desserts are very primitive. You have the walnut jam, you have the bitterol, you have the rose petal, you have a lot of jams. You have a lot of confit, because they use a lot of whole fruits very slowly and very little sugar, and they use a lot of honey because they have a very nice honey in it. So their dessert is more with honey rather than sugar or syrup. And then comes the star, is the walnut. The walnut, we have a very nice walnut. So you find it in the sare burma, which is the dough with the walnut, cinnamon, and cracked sugar, big sugar. You have the natural raisin syrup that we cook it very thick, and you have the sweet sujuk, if you know.
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
Yeah.
It's very easy. You put the walnut into a strain, and you are making your molasses of the raisin, and you dip in it and let it dry. And then dip in it again and let it dry, and dip in it again. And this is where you have the stick of raisin molasses on it.
Yum.
We don't use sugar. We use the apple molasses.
Yeah.
We use the raisin molasses. We use a lot of cherry and tooth. We have a lot of dry tooth. We have the cake of the Christmas, which is very similar of the cake of the fruit Christmas and stuff.
Yeah.
It's basic. It's
Amazing.
a lot of fruit in it. So the Armenian cuisine in the dessert is more of the country, the ingredients that you have. So, and you use a lot of alcohol in the dessert also. You have the kata, what is very important, which is the dough with yogurt, and you have inside filled with butter and sugar and flour. So
Amazing.
these are
Yeah.
a lot of things. The sare burma, all these are one of the basics of the Armenian desserts.
Yeah. Do you ever get sick of this food? Personally, because like you're
7
living and breathing.
years.
Yeah.
When I started, I stayed in the kitchen for 7 years. You know, when you cook the same food every day, it's a bit difficult. I craved street food. I
Yeah.
craved sometimes to go. But there is 2 dishes that I never stopped eating. Mante and Prinsov. This were always, anytime, I can't.
Yeah.
These are the 2 things that are my weak point.
Yeah.
Anytime. I can be full. You bring a plate of Mante,
Yeah.
I can start all over. We need to bring the plate of Mante.
Okay, while we wait, I'll ask you a final question before we get the lahmacun and the mante.
Yeah.
So, if you were to put together a table for 2 people and you can only order 5 dishes, what are the 5 dishes?
That's a difficult question. Okay, according to I ask a lot my guest taste.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very important to hear the comfort part of it. If you eat everything, I'll start with each. You said 5, right?
Yeah, 5.
Okay. So let's put it like this. So we go for each.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This trio is there, definitely.
Okay.
I love the raw meat, the sarma.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, and Mante I stop
And Mante,
because
okay.
otherwise I. Okay, so if I don't want to do that, I go for the tikka kebab, the meat and stuff, because that's emotional. I used to prepare it a lot with my father also.
Yeah.
But as food, I need to. If it's you're giving me very short. Now.
Very.
It's 5 is like like haram, and I have 87 items on the menu. Come on, give me
That's
a bit
incredible.
of.
Amazing. Okay, let's talk about lahm bajin.
Yeah.
What's different or special about lahm bajin if somebody has tried the dish but doesn't know it from an Armenian perspective?
Okay. Let's start by the color.
Yeah.
We also notice the red color,
Yeah.
right? So definitely there is pepper paste.
Yeah.
Second thing, look at how thin the dough is.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Okay, and it's very closing and powdering. It's not crispy, but yet thick and crispy enough, but you can close it and open. So it's
Yeah.
very important this. And you have meat, garlic, tomato, parsley, pepper paste, onion. So it's rich. It's not, we don't like to have one thing. There is always a hero in it. Okay, anything has one hero. Okay, the hero is the meat, but it's elevated by the rest of the spices or the ingredients.
Yeah.
And this is where Armenian tradition, if you want to eat it traditionally, is lemon, yogurt,
Lemon and yogurt.
or you drink the ayran,
Yeah,
or you put
exactly.
the inside. Or if you go old back, when we used to go to the baker, with the lahmacun, with the meat that we used to prepare so that we go to the bakery to do the
Yeah.
dough on the dough, we used to take the long eggplant that we grill it, and you put grilled eggplant inside, a bit of lemon, and taste it.
Wow. This I have not tried.
Yeah. I will, once you're coming here, I will do another one, because right now I don't think you have spaces
I
anymore.
have no space left. This is amazing. Are there things that you have wanted to add to your menu, but you thought to yourself, no, they're not going to like this. This is very sophisticated. And
Actually, you know that you do what we call in professional terms, we do a lot of menu engineering.
yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at this. This is some map. Okay. This is the tomato-based sauce.
Tomato and pepper paste.
Tomato and
Pepper paste.
okay.
Don't forget the pepper paste.
Ahamshi. I won't to do anything.
And the cold yogurt. So here you find the contrast of the colors, texture, and temperature.
Yeah. And the yogurt you said is like somewhere between Lebanon and Lebanon.
Look how thick it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people think that is sour cream or something. It's a yogurt. It's a natural. There is this little bit of acidity.
Yeah.
It's not like sweet, like it's not like a Greek yogurt. There's a little bit of acidity inside. And if you see the Mante, it's very handmade
Yeah.
thin dough. When my mom wanted to do Mante, it was like my deal with her was make one tray, cook, and put it next to me. I eat one, I make one. I eat one, I make one. But don't make me work
Replace.
without a payment. You know, like it has to be something. So I had to make a deal with her. Do you know this? When I'm down, it's Mante.
Yeah.
When I'm down, it's like I crave the homey style. I take 2 orders of sauce, I put the yogurt, and I eat it like very juicy. When I'm like
Happy?
hyper,
Oh.
what I do is I take this and I dip inside,
Great
and I
choice.
like it like a popcorn.
Yeah, it's like French fries and ketchup.
like a nachos.
Amazing. Okay, so we usually put this on top first.
Yep. If you make it right, you can work here.
Yeah, let's see. Okay.
Exactly. Then you top it with the room temperature or cold yogurt. It's very important.
How many dollops?
Almost you have to finish it. Spread it
Okay.
as much as you can. Yes.
Coppa.
It's okay. It's okay. As long as it's tasty. It's okay.
Yeah, oh my God.
All right. Now, spread over. Give me that. Yep.
Okay.
And now is the sumac time.
And how much?
As much as you like. If you like it very soury, you can put at it. But like this, it's perfect.
Tamam. Amazing. And then serve it before it gets soggy.
Yes. It's according what you like, you know?
Yeah.
Remove the small paper. Small. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm lucky اليوم. So this is a plate that I cannot say
You can't
no.
say no to.
I can't. And I noticed not a single time I've seen a leftover
This,
in the
there's
plate.
never leftovers. Yeah.
As much as you're full, you finish it.
Amazing. How do you say sahtin in Armenian? Is there a sahtin?
Anush illa.
Anusha?
Anush illa.
Anusha. Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.